are listening to Lighthearted, the official podcast of the United States Lighthouse Society. My name is Jeremy D'Entremont. Welcome. Today is August 31st, 2025, and this is another episode of Lighthearted Light. This is a look back at an interview that was first heard in episode 122 back in May 2021. The interview is with Elena Hansteensen, who is the owner of Littleisland Lighthouse in Norway, which is operated as a small hotel. Litløy, or Little Island Lighthouse in English, is on a small island off the northwest coast of Norway inside the Arctic Circle. It was first lit in October 1912. For a time, it was the second most powerful lighthouse in Norway. The light was automated in 1991. In 2006, the light station was bought by Elena Hansteensen with the intention of making it accessible to the public. The property has been renovated, and overnight accommodations are available, as well as guided tours. Travel and Leisure names Little Island Lighthouse one of the best small hotels in the world. Here is their description. If visiting an old European lighthouse, going whale watching, and gazing up at the northern lights are on your bucket list, check into Norway's Little Island Lighthouse, which lets you do all three in a single day. Let's listen to my conversation with Elena Hansteensen now.
The lighthouse is Litløy, which actually means the Little Island Lighthouse. So that's why I used Little Island in English.
FYR is lighthouse in Norwegian. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
How do you pronounce that?
Fyr.
Okay,
And that has a few meanings in Norwegian. It means a flame, but it can also mean a man.
Well, that's interesting.
Yes, it is.
Like English, we have words that mean multiple things, so it can get very confusing. So what exactly led you to buy and restore a lighthouse in the first place?
When I was in the beginning of my 20s, I was really becoming aware that I had a strong longing to live close to the sea, and if possible, living on a small island. And then I thought, Elena, that you cannot even dream about, because that's only for rich people to be able to live on a small island, more or less by yourself. So then I changed that whole little dream and I said, well, but I can always dream about living as close to the sea as possible. And then I worked as a tour guide in Norway for French tourists for quite a few years, traveling all around Norway, seeing more and more of Norway and the Norwegian coast, quite long the Norwegian coast. And then I started to feel also very attracted to the northern part of Norway. I am not originally myself from the north. I come from the south of Norway, but this lighthouse where I am is in the north. So this attraction and I would say longing to the open sea, that is what has initiated my journey towards the lighthouse. Yeah.
Before you bought Little Island Lighthouse, were you involved like in the hospitality industry at all, with hotels or B&Bs, anything like that?
Yes. So my father was a chef, and I normally say I grew up in restaurants and hotels. We were actually moving quite a lot between hotels and restaurants in my childhood. And so my first work experience was in the tourism business since I was 10, 11 years old. And I continued in that business or that kind of work even during my studies, my university studies. And for many years, I felt it was quite nice. It's a nice platform to meet people when you're social and stuff. But I felt it was a little bit superficial in many ways, big hotels, lots of big groups, etc. So I didn't have that as a dream to continue to work in. So I more went into journalism, and then I specialized also in the Middle East. So, but when the journalism work I had didn't really satisfy me at a certain point, and I heard about this lighthouse up north, then suddenly I started to think, what shall I live of if I move up north in Norway, and how can I survive? And then I got this idea that maybe a small guest house would be something. So then my old kind of roots came out, and it felt very easy for me, safe, like a safe platform, like a platform I knew quite well to stand on when I wanted to do something else.
Were lighthouses particularly an interest of yours before you bought the property there?
I feel all lighthouses has a kind of magnetic power to them. But I didn't know anything about lighthouses, neither in Norway, neither. I hadn't even visited a lighthouse before I bought this one. But it was like a total new field coming to me when I moved here.
Okay. And have you become more interested in lighthouses in general since you bought your lighthouse? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wherever I go, it's a lot about lighthouses. If there is a lighthouse in the neighborhood where I go, anywhere, I want to see it and know more about it. And of course, there are a lot of similarities between many lighthouses and the history. And
So your island is within the Arctic Circle. I'm correct about that, right?
Exactly.
And what's the weather like this time of year there?
Well, this year, I would say spring comes very late. So it's a reminder this year that really we live beyond the Arctic Circle. But it could as well be spring, beginning of April. But I would say springtime, compared to living in the southern part of Norway, comes late. But the winter time here at the coast is quite mild. So it's rare that it's more than -5 degrees. Of course, when it's windy, which it is quite often by the open coast, then it feels stronger. But thanks to the Gulf Stream coming from South America all the way up here, we have quite a mild climate. So there is no frost on the sea around the island, and this is quite a small island. So the sea around this island is always between 3 and 5 degrees during wintertime, which also then means that the snow comes here the latest in the whole region and leaves the first in the whole region. It's quite mild, and the lighthouse itself turns towards the south with a good little rock against the north. So I can plant things, herbs, vegetables, flowers, which I really love. So I feel that despite the fact that it's beyond the Arctic Circle, it's not too cold.
Are there any stories about the history of the lighthouse, maybe how it began and or the history of the people living there that you find especially interesting?
Yeah, well, this lighthouse was made primarily after a demand from the fishermen in this region. This region called Vesterålen and Lofoten in Norway, it's famous in Norway for its cod fishing and other kind of fishing. It's a very, very rich fishing fields around here. And so it was primarily for the fishermen that the lighthouse was decided to be built in 1906. And then in 6 years later, then in 1912, it was finished. And this is a so-called coastal lighthouse. So it means there is just one white light, not a green or red zone, just white zone. And it's also, this lighthouse, it's quite small. I mean, the building itself is quite small. It's not very tall, but it stands up on a rock. We have 3 lighthouses like that in Norway, very similar. So the light, when it came from from the tower itself, was 55 meters beyond sea level. So that's relatively high, also in a Norwegian perspective. And when it was electrified in the end of the 50s sometime, then it was the second strongest lighthouse in Norway. And there are people in the region that had grown up with the signal of this lighthouse and find that very special. When I moved here, the light was still coming up from the lighthouse tower itself. But some years after I moved here, the coastal administration from whom I bought it, they had decided then to put up a new light, a little smaller version, and it's not now coming from the tower anymore, the small light on this property.
there was one keeper and a family living there. Is that correct?
No, this was built for two families.
Okay.
Two lighthouse keepers with families. So it was a so-called family station. And in addition, they had one assistant. So there were three
three keepers. Okay.
Three keepers taking care of it. One of the reasons is a small curiosity is that when the tower is so small, to run it, they had to go up to the tower and work the winch more often than on a tall lighthouse, because it took longer time for the heavy weight to reach the bottom of the tower.
Right.
In the long tower, and shorter time in the short tower.
Right.
And that's why actually they needed three keepers to be up there 24/7, especially during the winter time here when it's really dark, and it has to the light has to be running 24 hours. Beyond the Arctic Circle, it's during wintertime, it's really dark. So then the light has to run 24 hours for a few weeks. Summertime, we have, on the contrary to the winter, 24 hours of light.
Right.
So then the light is not shown.
So in the time of year when there was no or very little darkness, were the keepers still retained?
Yeah. On the island, this island, and there is a neighboring island, two islands standing alone in the open sea. People have been living on this island since Stone Age. But today, I am the only one living here.
Right.
But at the time when there was lighthouse keepers with families, they lived here with their family all year round.
All year round, okay. So there's a keeper's, what was a keeper's house that you live in, is that correct?
Yeah.
So apparently you didn't need to do a tremendous amount of renovation before you opened it up for visitors, is that right?
No. But it didn't look very nice. So, there were certain things I wanted to do. And also recently this year, or this winter, we have actually taken off the modern asbestos plates that we had put on in 1980 and modern windows, and put the house back as it was originally, with this wooden structure and old kind of windows. I think it has got its old soul more back. So I feel that's nicer.
Do you live there year round?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I do that.
Okay.
I have my own boat. There is no ferry or anything going out here. And people never thought that any would come.
Are the accommodations there, the overnight accommodations for the public, are those open year round?
Yes, also. Of course, then during wintertime, people have to come before it's dark. So they have to be present at the harbor at the latest at 2:00. And it's a bigger risk that there could be a storm. So there is more of an adventure coming here during wintertime. But the weather and the light in particular can be so beautiful during wintertime. And of course, we also then have the northern light that we are looking for. So I would say a winter visit can be so exceptional and really worthwhile.
So you obviously had to go to the mainland for supplies pretty often.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
I have a big stock, so I can be here for 1 week or 2 weeks, or sometimes even longer. But then, of course, I would normally need some fresh stock. Yeah.
Sure. Do you fish at all yourself?
It's not what I love most. I love fish though, but this is such a rich fishing region that it's so easy for me to buy fresh fillets directly from the fishermen coming here at the harbor and delivering fillets. So I'm a bit spoiled there. Yeah.
Is there interesting, what we'd call beachcombing, finding interesting things that have maybe washed in on the island?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have found letters, bottle letters. Do you call them now?
Messages in a bottle, we would call them.
Yeah. Messages in a bottle.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Can you describe the accommodations themselves?
Currently, I have 3 double rooms. They are also in the lighthouse keeper's house on the first floor, and we have 3 double rooms with good beds and 2 bathrooms. So they are not en suite, but they are quite close. We serve food, so it's full board with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we are working now to facilitate better and to have like a bigger restaurant on the ground floor, and then have one more room. So within next year, we will have 4 double rooms and a kitchen and a restaurant.
Okay.
Because when people come here to this island, of course, they are stuck here. There's no other restaurant or place to go. So we have to accommodate. Then there is the lighthouse tower itself, which we are also renovating now. And next year it will be ready. So that will also then be rented out as a place where people can live, 1 or 2 persons, preferably a couple.
Do you do the cooking yourself?
Yeah, I have done quite a lot of cooking myself, but I also have had quite a lot of good help. And this year we are expecting there will be a professional chef coming from UK to help us for the summer. So that's quite nice.
Are guided tours available for the guests who stayed there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have, of course, it's the lighthouse history that I explain and talk a bit about. And then it's also the other history on the island, as we have remnants on the island from 6,000 years ago and up until today. And so people coming here will be able to see and learn quite a lot about a range of northern Norwegian coastal history. Yeah.
And are tours also available for people who might not be staying overnight there, but come to visit during the day?
Yeah. So that is something we are now this year opening more up for, and hopefully more even next year when we will get the restaurant ready, that people could come for a lunch and then a guided tour on the island. We are hoping to be able to facilitate for this more and more.
And you can see the northern lights from the island, or the Aurora Borealis, right?
Yeah, it's very easy. We just open the door and go out. But of course, when all the other conditions are there, meaning it has to be a clear sky and there has to be some extra energy activity from the sun. So when this phenomenon is happening and the sky is clear, we see it. And even just the last time we saw it was a couple of weeks ago. Now it starts to be quite not so dark during nights. So then it's more difficult to see it. But a couple of weeks ago, we had some very nice northern lights.
Clarify for me how much daylight there is in summer, and conversely, how much darkness there is in winter there.
Yeah, so very soon, in around 3 weeks, at the end of May, we formally have the midnight sun. And that lasts then until first week of August. And then we are talking about 24 hours of light, 24 hours of sun if it's sunny. And then during wintertime, by the last week of November until the second week of January, there is no sun.
So what do you do there during the period when it's completely dark?
Well, there is a lot to do on a lighthouse. I would say there is something special and interesting with lighthouse. You see the light far away, and it's very magic, this light that you see from far away. But when you live on a lighthouse, as I experience it, then you just have to work very hard to make this light work. You have to think very hard on making the daily things work. And life here is more cumbersome than in a big city. It takes more time to go shopping. It takes more time to carry the things 200 stairs up to the house, be out in the rough sea. Everything is a little bit more produced on our own energy. Every daily core takes more time. So that's to begin with. Then number 2, all my years here, I have every year tried to work harder in improving the situation for the guests to come, for the garden to be bigger. So there is a continuous long to-do list that I'm struggling to keep up with. I really love the darkness and the calm it gives me. So I also try every winter to get some time only by myself, sit quiet in front of the fireplace, read. And then I feel then this darkness is really giving me like a big hug, and giving me focus for the reading or writing.
So I imagine there's a lot of interesting wildlife around there, probably marine mammals. What kinds of wildlife are seen there?
Yeah, so of course the most extraordinary with the marine mammals are the whales, the orcas that we see around. We see them regularly all year round. They don't come really on appointments, but it's very nice when we see them. Then on the island itself, we don't have so many, but we have sea otters and minks on the island itself.
Okay.
But that's also it.
Yeah.
Then we have white-tailed eagles. Quite a lot. Norway is a protector of the white-tailed eagle in Europe, and so there is one couple nesting on this island, and we also see the eagles regularly. It's quite nice. Of course, the bird life is very rich.
Have you ever been going back and forth in your small boat and have orcas all around you?
Yes.
That must be interesting.
Very. That has happened a few times. That's very interesting. Yeah. But I mean, it feels like a blessing, I feel so grateful. I would say that the thing that really took me up here, I said the sea earlier, but I can also put it in a bigger perspective and say that the things that holds me here, it's the sea, but even more, it's this mostly untouched wild nature. I feel it's very special to live so close to nature, be it through the birds, the sea, the fish, the whales, and the rest of it. I feel that's a very strong, it's a very strong, fascinating thing. And also with the changes of all the seasons that we have here very strongly, as I try to explain with the light and stuff, for me, all this makes the life here very, very worthwhile, even if it is a bit cumbersome.
What has been your favorite thing of your involvement with Littleisland Lighthouse?
Well, I moved out here for this kind of life because I was a bit fed up sitting in front of a computer. So I really love the practical life here. It's quite physical, carrying the shoppings out with the boat, these kind of things. So I like that part of the life here. In our modern life, we come more and more further and further away very often from this part of life, this more practical touch to reality. What is life really about? I mean, I actually have to now watch the weather forecast with close details and with great interest compared to when I lived in the city and it was just like, okay, sun or rain. Now I don't care much about the sun or rain. I only care about the wind and the strength of the wind because it has a meaning. So I like that part of it. But then again, just being so close to nature is very inspiring, very inspiring.
The place itself and your life there are absolutely fascinating. It's wonderful speaking with you. I don't know if I'm going to make it to Norway, but I dream of maybe visiting you there.
Well, if you will, you are so welcome. It would be a pleasure to invite you here, and then hopefully you could maybe sleep in the lighthouse tower itself. Wouldn't that be quite interesting?
Sounds absolutely great. So, Elena, again, thanks so much for spending this time with me. It's a real pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
That's it for this episode of Lighthearted Light. Be sure to check out uslhs.org to learn more about tours, preservation grants, the passport program, and everything the U.S. Lighthouse Society offers. There will be a full episode next week focusing on beautiful Curtis Island Lighthouse in Camden, Maine. Until next time, to all our regular listeners and our new ones, thanks so much for listening and keep a good light.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.